Mr. President, I wasn't planning on speaking on petitions and remonstrances today, but I look back on the day, busy day. I know it's late. I know we all want to get going home, but I had a couple of experiences the past couple of days, some of which were outlined by my friend and my colleague, Senator Haywood, regarding very important legislation that's been moving very quickly through the halls of this chamber. Mr. President, it's important for me to premise my remarks by simply talking about the Senate Democratic Caucus's position on pension reform. We know that there's an issue. We know that there's a problem. We have been, for the past couple of years, trying to embark upon dialogue to address that problem, and certainly the governor, Governor Wolf, when he came into office, put forth a plan that we thought might provide a decent solution set, a decent future. There are four things that the Senate Democratic Caucus has always believed in with pension reform. We didn't want to increase our unfunded liability. We didn't want to impair contract, find ourselves in court with our current retirees or employees. We wanted to guarantee some semblance of reasonable retirement security for our workers. And we wanted to see if we can provide fiscal or budgetary relief for our general fund and our school districts who are reeling under the weight of the obligations. I think it's important, Mr. President, if I could talk very quickly about how we got here. Back in 1997, that was the last time that the employer contributed, the employer meaning the Commonwealth, contributed what it was supposed to contribute as a result of an actuarially required contribution. 1997, last time we did it in full. In 2000, our systems were dealing with surplus. PSERS, our public school employee system, was 123% funded, SERS 132% funded. We were sitting pretty. 2001, Act 9, enhanced member benefits, increasing the multiplier, and dealing with retroactive awards of benefits that were believed at that time to be appropriate, but they've since come to bite us, Mr. President. 2002, we granted an unfunded COLA, and we arbitrarily limited the employer contribution rate. 2003, Act 40, restrained the growth in employer contributions. Of course, we hit the recession. 2008, 2009, returns were in the negatives for both of our systems, removing significant value. And then in 2010, we did Act 120, which was important reform to protect the Commonwealth and our school districts from the spike in pension contribution that would have visited upon them and our local taxpayers in 2012 and 2013. Act 120 was good reform, and Senator Pat Brown, who's the prime sponsor and maker of Senate Bill 1, and we send our best wishes out to our colleague and hope that his recovery is swift. Pat worked for a long time on Senate Bill 1, and we commend his work, but we certainly weren't privy to it. So what I want to say about what happened the past 2 days is that on Friday at 4:30, a bill, 410 pages, was put into print for the first time for members of the Senate to see. We come in on Monday, it's across the desk and referred to the Finance Committee, and as you heard my colleague, it was put through Finance Committee on a party line vote. Didn't have a hearing, didn't seek stakeholder input, didn't have much transparency to that process, Mr. President. Mr. President, there are three things that really matter for this caucus. I think one, we believe that some elements of Senate Bill 1 may have legal problems, constitutional questions attached to them. That's the first issue. The second thing is the process. Taking a bill of such enormous consequence to our taxpayers and to our workers and hammering it through in 3 days in Senate, probably not good public policy, probably not what the people expect of us legislatively when they want a deliberative democracy to work for their best interest. And the third thing is the actual substance of the bill itself, Mr. President. I just outlined the failure of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to make its contribution to the pension systems. We, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, have met 40% of our actuarially required contributions to our system for the past 13 years. We rank 49th in the nation in terms of meeting our actuarial required contribution to our pension system. So as an employer, we've not done our job. The employees, on the other hand, they've been paying their share, Mr. President. In fact, whether they pay on 6.25% or 7.25%, which is, by the way, twice the national average that employees in most state pension systems pay, they make their payment every paycheck, Mr. President. And our systems are well managed. SERS and PSERS are well managed systems. Keep in mind the three things that make up a pension: an employer contribution, an employee contribution, and investment returns. It turns out that for PSERS, 15% of that is from the employees, 15% of that is supposed to be from the employers, and 70% of the benefits we pay are from investment returns that these systems generate. 70%. So they're well-managed systems. It's just that they're completely unfunded, and we failed to make that contribution for over a decade. So, Mr. President, I wasn't going to speak today. I know that tomorrow we're going to have a debate here on the floor to move Senate bill along. I take the Republican leader at his word. Senator Corman says this is just a first step and that we'll have an opportunity, hopefully, through an amendment process, whether it be in the House or back over here at some time in the days or weeks ahead. I sincerely hope that's true because we do need to revisit this legislation. It is punitive to our workers insofar as future benefits are decreased. It is absolutely ignoring the unfunded liability, in my opinion, because all it does in changing benefits and in changing employer contributions going forward is deal with cash flow issues going forward. It doesn't deal with the $55 billion unfunded liability. So we have a situation, Mr. President, where we've got an imperfect bill. We need to work on it to improve it. We need to consider the governor's plan that can provide relief to our general fund during this budget cycle as well as to our school districts. And we need to consider the dignity of work and the value of retirement security for our workers. So I appreciate the indulgence of the chamber, and I appreciate your patience, Mr. President. Thank you very much.